I think we're good. Oh, my VR chat is 128 fucking p. Jesus. Okay. Alright, we're good. Okay. What is up? What is happening? Hello, hello. What's up? Hello, Hex. I see your first redeem. Don't worry. Yeah. So, plain is simple. Plain has always been simple. We're gonna be going in public lobbies. We're gonna be going in public worlds. Basically, we're gonna start by asking some pretty basic questions. Today I want to be a little bit more, what's the word? Argumentative, maybe would be the term. Basically, start with this, hey, why do you play VR chat? Hey, why do you do this? Right? And then a value statement. It's like, hey, do you think femboys are real? That's one of the examples I've written down. And basically, all right, I want you to choose a value between strongly disagree and agree, or strongly agree, and I'm gonna try to argue the opposite so we can get a further understanding of why you believe a thing, right? Or where the flaws and where you are at is, you know? Hopefully with the goal to get to something a little bit more interesting, a little bit more informative. That is the hope. That is the hope. All right. I'm a little bit worried from the argumentative angle anyway, because I don't know how defensive people will be off of a pretty decent just opener question, right? Because the entire meme with this is good opener question. We had talked about that for a little while. Whether that be something that we already have a pretty decent understanding of. Yeah, I'm pretty confident I'll get something interesting. But I don't know what that interesting is gonna look like. You know, it's gonna be interesting. I got a Discord notification. The fuck? All right. So I have two general topics I can feel like I can argue any side for. One being trans people require dysphoria. The basic argument for that is if gender is how you present and people and gender identity exists and somebody has a different sex from their gender identity and aren't pushing that's what's just being described there is just dysphoria, and that's a key thing about being trans in my view. And from that, you should expect some level of push towards what their internal mind is saying. So if they are saying, hey, I don't experience any kind of dysphoria or anything like that, I feel like you can't really make a claim to anything like that. But the opposite end of the spectrum here would be, all right, who cares? The big thing about it would be a measure of respect for your other human. You have no idea to know, like, you have no idea, you can't really speak for another human's experience. And as long as they aren't pushing for anything, like, societally, who it isn't hurting anybody, where is the harm, right? That's the other end. And for the femboys aren't real one, it's a little bit of a meme and a little bit more complicated to say yes to. But my argument for that is that I think they aren't real because they sort of have like a time limit, and they either turn out to be either like trans or just gay, you know, or it's just like a phase and like, hey, this isn't like a thing that I was. It, like, no matter what, it's just like it's a side effect of a larger problem, you know. That's sort of like the big thing. It's a bit inflammatory, but I feel like I can get something interesting out of that. The opposite angle is like somebody can feel like comfortable exactly as like VR chat presents a certain thing. Because you've probably seen like VR chat femboy avatars are like really femme. So you can make the argument like there is a human that does feel that way, that is getting a benefit from doing this. Yeah, that's the basic meme. That's the basic meme. Yeah. I feel like starting in B. I'm gonna start in a B club. Worst mistake of my life, but it be what it be. So that's the game plan. That's the game plan for today. That's the general like rundown of what to expect from like the argumentation side of things. Yeah. I don't know how else to describe it. We probably could go down some like more like interesting rabbit holes when discussing like why the game is addictive. Maybe there's some like interesting perspectives that way, but it's probably not going to be too much from what we've already heard. Yeah. Joining worlds right now, trying to find some. The first one is always the hardest. It's always the hardest. You have no idea what to expect. You're not really in the groove, you know. Some base as usernames in this lobby. Mysterious BBC. Oh shit. Apologies. Mysterious BBC is in this lobby. Certainly interesting. Yeah, that seems like a rabbit hole. I'm not gonna lie to you. Somebody's like saying, "Oh yeah, it's so powerful they can like buy their way out of like any problems or whatever." It seems like somebody. I wasn't sure about what they were talking about. That's all I was hearing though. All right. Damn. Excuse me as I take a second. Literally almost every world I've joined in so far, it's just been like groups of like 10. Just people like grouped around each other. Just fine, but not necessarily the best for starting like conversations like this, unfortunately. Excuse me, are you guys willing to chat for a second? Okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay, yeah, you guys want to have a quick chat? I'm world hopping today. I'm asking people like various questions on their views about stuff, and yeah. Yeah. Are you willing to participate? Okay. So right now, I need to let you know I am streaming. You're not audible. You're not visible. Are you okay with being streamed? Yeah. Are you? Yes. You are not on screen, and the VR chat is not on like audio, on the audio of the stream. Not right now. Yeah, I'm just asking consent. Okay. Give me 1 second.
Have your avatar on, so you're just...
Yeah, take your time.
This is our first conversation of the night, so everything is a little bit fucked.
What's your stream so I can follow you?
It's in my profile. You just go on the thing. It's linked in the bottom there.
Is it let me see, hold on. Is it YouTube or Twitch?
Both.
Oh, you're live on both. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring up Twitch real quick. Give me 1 second.
You're all good. So I guess I'll just get right into it then. Do you believe in any way, shape, or form that VR chat can be addictive? If so, why? If not, why?
Yeah, that's a good ass question. Yes, it can. People get shit. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. I have a buddy who comes on this game around. He's usually on 4 to 5 times a week, per day, and he just ERPs all the time. So he's kind of addicted to the game, and he'll admit that it's an addiction. He can't control himself, but
Okay,
people
so-
are actually addicted to this game.
Yeah, so you think it is a phenomenon that happens. Why do you think that addiction starts? If you could wager, I guess.
Well, when they figure out that, like, for example, this whole phantom sense thing. I'm sorry, I just looked over there. Anyways, the whole phantom sense thing, they get addicted to that, and then it takes them over pretty much.
So
Like Bean, for example.
like Phantom Sense, like figuring out Phantom Sense existing and like being able to like be more immersed, maybe. Is that what you're saying, or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when people can, I don't think it's more getting addicted to VR chat. It's more getting addicted to Phantom Sense and feeling like you're actually, in the game almost.
Yeah, feeling like you're
When
in
you
this
have Phantom
virtual
Sense.
world. That's what you're addicted to more than the actual game itself.
Exactly. I don't
Okay.
think it's an addiction to the game. It's an addiction to the feeling. There we go, the feeling.
Okay. All right then. So I guess I have one more thing for you. This is going to be a little bit harder.
Okay.
We're ramping up the difficulty here. So, on a like, so what I want from you is like a strongly disagree to strongly agree on a certain topic, and what's going to happen is I'm going to try to argue the opposite of what you're like saying, just so we can understand where or why we believe this thing, right?
Like, you want to meet in the middle almost.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
All right. So, like, strongly disagree or through strongly agree on the statement trans people require dysphoria to be trans.
Let's ask the question one more time. Sorry.
So,
yeah, ask that one
from
more time.
strongly disagree to strongly agree, this could be disagree,
So
neutral,
multiple
agree.
choice.
Yeah, multiple choice.
Okay.
Where do you land on the statement trans people require dysphoria to be trans?
Oh man. Let's see. Well, I have a few people on here that I know that are trans, and I have no problem with it. So it's not. I would pretty much disagree. I don't have no problem with them or nothing. You know, they do them and I do me. You know.
Why disagree?
I don't really. Well, hold on. Okay, hold on. So you said if they need. Okay, I'm sorry. Ask that question one last time.
So, from strongly disagree to strongly agree, what do you feel about the statement trans people require dysphoria to be trans?
People require dysphoria to be trans. I don't know. That's kind of a difficult question too. It's it's a really controversial question too. A lot of people, the whole LGBTQ community.
Yeah, it's the judgment-free zone, man.
Exactly, they're not liked, or whatever you might want to say. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I have a lot of friends that are in that community.
So you're leaning towards disagree because you know people that are trans. Is that am I understanding that correct?
Well, yeah. I would, yeah, almost, yeah. I'm pretty neutral to the whole LGBTQ community. It's not really.
So what do you think?
What is it called?
Gender dysphoria is.
Gender dysphoria.
Yes, that's what I mean when I say people require dysphoria.
Can
you give it like a definition?
Like. Shit. I don't know nothing about that stuff, if I'm being honest. I was just kind of assuming,
Yeah, so my understanding of gender dysphoria is a mismatch between our gender identity, aka what we believe in our brain, what our gender presentation should be, and our biological sex. So the disparity between these two things, causes dysphoria.
Oh, I see what you're saying now. Okay. So you're saying like, if I think I'm a man but I'm an actual female, then they can confuse me and give me like dysphoria.
Yeah. Another example would be like an anorexic person who like genuinely believes in their hearts of hearts that are fat ass that they stop eating, right?
Yeah, that's a hell of an explanation, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, do we agree on that definition?
Yeah, I would agree on that definition. Yeah.
Okay, so then, do you still believe that it's like you disagree with the statement that people require that to be trans?
I don't know. That's a really difficult question. You would have to get more in depth into that question to answer that. That's not really a
just feel free to ask.
Disagreeing. Yeah,
feel free to ask questions.
It's more okay. I'll put it like this. I think if I'm trying to see how to word this question almost. So I get what you're asking in the question. I don't know. I think it's more of like, for example, let me give you an example. One of my buddies in real life that is trans, he knows he's a female. I mean, he knows, oh my god, he knows he's a male, but, in his mind, he knows he's a male, like, he has masculine features, but at the same time, he he doesn't get offended when people like, I've seen on TikTok that guy that goes or let me rephrase that woman that goes around and she gets mad when people call her sir, but she has masculine features and she's trans. I don't know if you've seen her. She has glasses and she kind of, you know what I mean.
Yeah. That sort of like gets
Yeah.
that sort of like distracts from the question, because like, yeah, I'm not like asking about like whether people should like be offended when they're getting misgendered. That's a completely different question. I'm asking
Yeah.
is that if people should require dysphoria, gender dysphoria, to like claim that label of trans.
Shit. I don't know if I would disagree or agree. I think it would be more
So you're
neutral.
neutral?
I don't
Okay.
think. Yeah, I'm kind of neutral. Yeah, that's. Yeah.
So
you know, you
what
would
would
have, like I
change
said,
your
you would have to get
mind?
more in depth.
Yeah. So what would change your mind from to say like disagree, or what would change your mind to say agree?
We had so much fun with that. Wait. How do we get?
Let's see. I don't know. It would probably. I don't know. You know. I don't know. That's a good question too. I don't know. I don't know what would change my mind. You know. I think maybe, I don't know, maybe discussing it with somebody who is trans or something like that, you know, maybe, I don't know.
Well, glad you just like mentioned it, because I am very much a trans woman. That is what I am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I feel so confident talking about this. That's why I'm asking this.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. I didn't know. My apologies if I misgendered you or anything.
Nah, you're good. Don't worry about it, dog.
Okay, I'm just making sure. But no, yeah, I don't know. You know, maybe just like I said, it would have to be something that you would have to discuss more in depth. I don't.
Okay, so where do you wanna start with that?
I'm a big. Okay, I'll say this much. I'm a big neutral person when it comes to the whole LGBTQ thing. I'm straight, me personally, but you know what I mean. I'm really.
Yeah, you said
neutral,
we would have to go a little bit
it's not
more in
something-
depth on like the trans stuff to like have an opinion one way or the other. So where do you want to start with that?
This would be a hell of a conversation. I'll tell you that much. Let's see. So you want to focus on this question?
Yes.
If
So
I
what would change
believe
your
that-
mind, like for the trans people require dysphoria? That's the thesis here.
I see. And your definition of dysphoria is, like you said, if a man thinks he's a female but kind of gets confused in the middle.
So it's basically a discrepancy of
Okay.
identity, aka what's in your mind, and your biological sex. And yeah.
So let me ask you this. I kind of want to reverse the question and ask it to you. What do you agree or do you disagree?
I'm
Just to
on
kind of
the-
get on the same
I
level.
strongly agree. If I would be putting myself on
You
this,
okay.
yeah, if I would be putting myself on the scale, I'd be on strongly agree.
You would be on strongly agree. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just depends on what people kind of. It just depends on what people kind of perceive it as, I guess. You know, some people
What do you mean?
perceive trans. I think, if I'm being honest here, I think people. It's gonna be kind of confusing, maybe. Who knows? But I think some people perceive. What's it called? I guess being transgender in a different way. You know, like I said, my friends perceive it in a different way than you might. You know what I mean? You know, I've never really
playing
gotten into
music?
depth with them about it. It's come from downstairs. I don't know who's playing it, but
I found it. Don't worry.
oh, you found it? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Who
it's
is it?
just-
What's their name?
It was the Willow person.
Willow. I'm gonna mute him for now. Okay,
Yep,
there we
yep,
go. Okay, but yeah, like I said, I think people kind of,
This one.
you know, embrace it in a different way. You know, different things like that. People express it in a different way. There's so many things that are different when it comes to being transgender, being pansexual, being whatever you may be.
But
I guess
I'm
you
like
could say.
specifically like squaring it on like trans people, right? And I think I can agree with you in saying that like that expression can be very variable. However, I feel like the core experience of like what drives this group of people is wanting to be closer to their internal identity. They just want to, like, at least from my experience anyway, I personally want to just transition and assimilate. But some people don't want to assimilate, but they still have that want to transition, right? Because they...
Yeah, of course.
Right, so...
You know, because... okay, now that you kind of explain it like that, I guess you could say that I'm leaning more towards agreeing that you need that type of, you know, what do you call it? That kind of confusion or whatever you would call it, to become trans, or you know what I mean. So yeah, now that I'm kind of not.
Yo, hello.
I guess you could say now that I'm kind
I'll send them the details.
of not developing it in, but kind of understanding what you're saying. You know, I can kind of agree. Yeah, I can agree.
As a counter argument to that, I'll provide you with a counter argument. So, as a counter argument, I would say that like the respect of like the person you're talking to, you can't claim that other person's experience. So, for example, somebody who's embracing like a trans identity may not want to transition, right? But they're still claiming that identity, want to push in that direction, and that would be it would be on a basis of respect and not dysphoria. That would be my counter argument.
That's understandable.
That'd be my counter. I don't believe that. Let me be clear, but that would be my counter argument.
Yeah, I understand that.
Oh, wave your finger.
I think, yeah, like I was saying before, you know, all my friends who are trans, pans, whatever, you know, whatever they are, they all know that.
Holy shit, they're cooking utensils. Sorry.
Oh man.
Sorry, I had to.
You're good. Oh man. By the way, I hit you with a follow on
yeah, I fucking saw
Twitch.
GG's.
But anyway, yeah. So, yeah, like I said, I think, I don't know, you know, I think that just having mutual respect there, you know, this is what I'll tell you. Most of my friends who are trans, pansexual, you know, all of them. Me personally, I don't, but all my friends who are part of the LGBTQ community know that, you know, I have mutual respect for them. They, you know, I've had plenty of people come out to the closet to me.
Okay, so
you know, there's.
Don't like me.
Go ahead.
Nah,
I'm just sort of curious. This is a curiosity question. So you're mentioning a lot of like unrelated like identities. Do you sort of see this all under like a like same umbrella, or like do you like think there is like some major difference between one group or another?
Hold up, I'm taking pictures, okay?
Of course there's a difference. Yeah, I understand that. You know, trans. You know what I mean. You know, I think trans is more of a identity. You know, pans is more of a. I don't know. You know, it just depends what you know the definitions are and everything.
Okay. So
you know, I know that there's definitely a difference. I'll tell you that much though.
Okay.
I know that there's a difference. They're not all the same. You know, I know that pans is like, you know, you don't care about gender. You care about more personality. I know that trans. I don't really know what trans is into, but you know what I mean. You know.
It's not a sexuality. It isn't a sexuality.
Yeah, it's not a sexuality. I think it's more of a identity. You know, that's why I said it's more of an identification.
So
it's more of your gender. There you go.
So I have another spicy thing. So from strongly disagree to strongly agree. How do you feel about this statement? Trans people are mentally ill.
You know you can't have kids anymore, right?
And you said if I hold on. You said if I say that one more time. You said
from strongly disagree to strongly agree.
Oh, strongly disagree or strongly agree. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
or
so
like
it's
whatever in
multiple choice
between
again.
of that, right?
Yeah,
How do you feel
I know
about the
what you mean.
statement?
I
Trans
think
people are mentally ill.
Yeah, like super.
it's. I don't know if I'm being honest here. I think, people are entitled. I'm a big person that I say people are entitled to their own opinion.
Yo,
I think
John.
if-
John the cowboy. John the cowboy. I have a question. An angel came to me in my dream, right? And told me you were gay. You were taking BBC from two big black
What the
birds.
fuck?
Oh
That's
no
true?
this guy, man.
Nah, I'm
Hey,
Dr.
hey,
Don
hey.
Mario. I'm Dr. Don Mario.
Anyways, I muted him,
You're
but
acting a
go
little bit
on.
too straight. He's acting a little bit too straight. I'm here to give.
Okay, so yeah, so where do you land on that spectrum?
Okay, ask that question again because I kind of distracted
Yeah, you got
me and it
distracted.
kinda-
I feel you.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
From strongly disagree to strongly agree, how do you feel about the statement trans people are mentally ill?
Yeah, like I was saying, I think everybody kind of, I think they all have their different opinions on the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, but where do you
this
land?
guy behind you, man? But me, I would, me personally, I would disagree. But like I said, I don't think, I think that's more of a this guy, man. I think
But you're a property man.
whoever, okay, let me say this. I think whoever says things like that or whatever,
Listen, you gotta figure
it's more of a
this out.
problem
Hey,
starting
look, this is
statement. It's not
unprofessional.
that I would even consider that a statement.
Oh, I agree,
That's
but
more
I'm
of an
not
insult,
like.
you know.
Yeah, let me be clear about my intentions. I'm stating it from like a purely like academic point of view.
Why do I have
Would-
to get involved?
Oh,
if-
okay. I thought you was
If
trying to
trans
like.
people like required dysphoria,
know.
because we ended that by saying you're leaning towards agree.
But
Yeah.
John,
Um,
Cowboy is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Are we describing dysphoria
John, Cowboy
as
is cool.
a mental illness? So it'd be the rewording on that question.
Yeah, I disagree. I wouldn't agree with that.
Why?
That's kind of stupid. I would, me personally, I would say that's kind of stupid. Saying that somebody's mentally ill because they want to identify with what they want to identify with.
John the cowboy.
Hello,
But how old are you?
24.
You're 24. Okay. So that was my first question, so I could accept the request. Two,
Okay.
I'm
Kinda.
being told that you needed to pay rent. And I'm like,
Respectfully, Ghost Bunny, we're trying to have a
he's trying to put me
conversation
in the middle of the
Yeah,
the,
we're-
the
I'm trying to have a
Fucking
conversation.
yeah.
I'll get to you in a second.
My name's Sassy
Sorry.
Foot.
No,
Yeah, you're all good. You're all good.
I understand. You're all good. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. So you said like
He
the
muted
why
you 'cause
of
he's trying to
disagree
have a
because they want to
conversation.
identify
It'd be
what they want to
respectful for you to
identify
leave
with.
him alone.
Let me fucking mute this guy too. Okay. I am so sorry. Say
You're all good.
say that one more time. I'm sorry that you have to repeat yourself so many times.
Yeah. No, take as long as you need to try to understand. So, from what I'm understanding, the reason why you disagree is because they want to like you think it's silly to say that it's mentally ill because they want to identify with what they want to identify with.
Okay. I think okay. Let me say this much if we're getting, into depth with it. Usually the people who say stuff like that, insults or whatever you may want to call it, have to do with their certain group.
What does mentally ill
That
mean?
certain group. What?
Can we define mentally ill before going through this like on a thing we both agree with?
Fair enough.
'Cause we might be thinking about different
Well,
things.
hold
here.
on. Do you? These guys are having the same argument down there. I can hear them very loud. There we go. Anyways, I think I don't know. It's it's hard to say. It's hard to say. I don't know. I think mentally ill. It's I don't know. There's a lot of things that can define mentally ill. You're not in the right
what
state
I
of mind.
define
You're not.
as
You're in a
mentally ill. What I defined it as
okay.
is something that is a mental affliction that causes repeated mental distress. So something that's like chronic mental distress, basically, from like an identifiable source.
So it's not like, so you wouldn't consider depression a mental illness if
I would consider
se.
depression a mental illness, yes, because that is a
Okay,
distress.
okay,
That
okay.
is a chronic mental
Exactly,
distress. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think me and you have the same definition. Yeah, I think
Okay,
pretty much,
so
because I said
for
pretty
gender
much
dysphoria,
yeah.
like dysphoria,
Okay.
as I understand it, I would argue
Considerably,
is
yeah. Considerably, okay, I'll say this much. According to the medical system, it's a mental illness. There we go. Scientifically, it's a mental illness. But
Yeah.
I think, so, okay, with your statement, yeah, I would agree. It's a mental illness according to that system. Yeah. So, yeah, considerably it is. Yeah.
okay. So you say you would agree that it would be just based on like what both of those are.
Well, yeah. So, it's according to that statement, being trans is a mental illness, scientifically, and well, yeah, scientifically, considerably it is. But I'm kind of, I don't know. I kind of like to, it's more. Oh shit! It's more of I guess you could say it's more of being neutral to it. Like I said, I'm really neutral to a lot of things. I kind of let a lot of
Do
things
you think
fly
it's
over
just like
my
an
shoulder.
unhelpful like
think-
statement to be saying?
Yeah, exactly. It's more to get some saying that being trans is a mental illness is. I feel like it depends on how you say it. If a doctor tells you, hey, being trans is a mental illness, and he's telling you professional terms, then of course I wouldn't consider that an insult. He's just giving you the information he was given.
Yeah.
But somebody coming at you, like a random person off the street, and being like, hey, you're mentally ill because you're trans. That's out of the ordinary, and it's
Yeah, but
disrespectful,
it would
and
be
it's
like the
just-
same if I were to like walk up to somebody with like ADHD and call them mentally ill because they have ADHD.
Yeah, exactly. That's like, if I'm being honest here, that's like going up to somebody with like Down syndrome and being like, "Hey, retard." That's pretty much what that is.
I mean, yeah,
If I'm being
I agree with you. I agree with you, but that doesn't like detract from like the truthness of like the truth of the statement.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
That's why I
okay.
said, considerably scientifically, yeah, it's considerably a mental illness, but I would be neutral to it. I wouldn't agree or I wouldn't disagree because, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Like I
wouldn't
said, I'm
say
more
that
neutral.
sentence,
I'm
but
in
you
the
agree
middle.
with the sentence.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. There we go.
Okay. Is there
Well,
any
I don't
like
really
final
agree with
like?
it. Like I said, it's more of, like I said, I wouldn't really agree with it. It's more of, like I said, scientifically, considerably it is.
Okay. So,
So
is
it's
there any
true,
like
it's
final
a fact,
questions
but
for
you-
me, or like any like statements, final words, stuff like that?
I really no.
Alrighty. Well, it was a lovely conversation. Have a great night, man.
100%. I appreciate it.
Yep. I'm confused. Bro is like, bro, I'm neutral, but I agree with the statement. All right. I don't want to be mean. But like, cheers. Open my water bottle. Like, I think it's completely valid concern to be like worried about like the optics of a sentence, but like you should be able to own what you believe, right? It shouldn't be a controversial statement to say like, hey, like trans people is like a trans person is mentally ill, but we should help like if you are actually supporting. Yeah. Hi. Nah, dude, I don't know why you don't just own it. Because like literally the next step like down the logic tree there is like, what do we like do with like mentally ill people? We try to treat them. We try to like get them to be happier, right? Cheers. Yeah. Fuck it, hey. I'm gonna finish this entire thing. Yeah, I have nothing. I have nothing against like what you're saying at all, but like it would just like logically follow from what you're saying. Like I feel like yeah, people should like not worry too much about like how like other people like would receive a sentence, because if you're able to like defend yourself and like able to explain yourself adequately, there isn't anything to worry about. Yeah, no, that was fun though. It was fun though. No, that's perfectly fair. I understand. I understand that. I run the risk of sounding a little bit homophobic myself, but I have the pass. Okay. But yeah, no. A lot of like what I believe comes from a position of wanting to help and advocate for like a more true thing, and like and something that would like lead to more like aid for these kinds of people, or my kind of people, I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's on them, man. If they're not willing to hear your shit, I don't think it's not like a good conversation. Like that's just something I will like advocate for like the day I die. You shouldn't be like giving like you shouldn't have to like give any like weight to like people who are engaging in bad faith with you. I feel like it literally should be like shrugged and laughed off. It's just like if they're not willing to engage with the conversation in good faith, there's no point. And both sides are like bad for this. Like I can name many like bad faith interactions I've had with people on this topic, and on the other side, it's like you see this happening everywhere. But yeah. Yeah, and a big goal for this for me is not only to like further my understanding. Yeah, sure. Just like chat, like send me like a friend request on VR chat or something, or add me on like Discord, or like at me in Discord. Like I want this this stream to be some more of like an open space for like discussion and disagreement about this stuff like this. Because if we are engaging in good faith, we should be able to arrive at a good conclusion, I guess. I just linked the Discord server. Yeah. Yeah, that's my entire memes. Those are my memes. Pretty cool. Alright, cool, yo. Lovely to see you. I do try to stream pretty consistently, so. Yeah. I'm also, yeah. Hopefully in a couple of weeks here, or like a week or two, I'll be able to set up like actual conversations between people. I'm also working on like, I'm working on a lot of things. I really do want this to work out. That is a big thing for me. I didn't get any notifications on VR chat. No, I left. I'm looking through furry hideout worlds. Yeah, I feel like that might be interesting. Excuse me, are you guys busy? Yo, killer unicorn. Are you busy? Oh, they're me up. My bad. My bad. God dang, man. Everybody's just like crowded together in one space. It's something else. Excuse me, Sora, are you busy? Are you busy? No? Okay, do you have a microphone we can so we can speak a little bit more clearly? Don't. Alright, okay, then I don't want to bother you too much. Here, have a great night, man. Sorry for bothering you. Excuse me, are you guys busy at all? You guys busy? But I'm basically world hopping, I'm asking people questions. Would you be willing to participate? Alright, cool. So I do have to let you know I am streaming. You are not visible, you're not audible right now. Do you want to be streamed?
Yeah. You could stream without people's permission.
I just don't
Your
feel
chat.
comfortable. Yeah, I don't feel comfortable doing it, to be honest.
I have extra. See, I have extra.
That's fair.
Alright,
People
so
could get weird.
yeah. So I guess I'll just open strong. Why do you think people play VR chat?
This is why I like Baldy.
To do
I think because
sex to each other in a video game,
it's an easier
and I'm just watching it while I'm just playing video
way to,
games
like,
all around every single
know,
corner. Even Roblox
like,
does
get
that
out
shit.
to people and like
It's worse
meet
than
people and like
Roblox.
hear people's stories rather than like going to the bar, or going to a sports competition where like you gotta drive, you gotta buy stuff, you gotta buy tickets, you gotta buy food, gas, all this stuff.
I think
I mean,
Okay.
this game we just kind of like hop on and then you know you don't have to pay anything. Like up front, obviously, yes, but
Yeah, so convenience would be your
That's it.
answer.
Yeah, convenience.
I think they need to be separated from the
Um,
gay people. I think they need to be separated
Do you
from,
think VR chat has any like addictive
reality.
elements at all?
um,
Well, for sure.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I have like 8,000 hours in this game over 3 years.
I'm very addicted
So-
to Roblox. It's even- that's
Mm,
different,
but
but I'm addicted
I have
to
friends that like
it.
from here that I've met online and met in person, so
Like,
I have reasons to be on here. And I just came back from a con as well, so I was hanging out with people from online that I met online
I'm very right-handed.
in person. So there's
That's
kind of a
fucking
reason why I
sick,
play
dude.
here.
Yeah, it's it.
Yeah.
Like you said,
Yeah, I'm
it does
sick.
have addictive elements. What do you think those are?
Too much fun.
I think
Just hanging out with people is kind of nice.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Going like the real life
Okay,
for
okay.
a few hours.
So okay, we're gonna spice things up a little bit. Spice things up. Are you guys okay with it? So basically, the
That's
plan.
fine.
I am gonna say a statement. I want you to give me whether a strongly agree through strongly agree about that statement. We can sort of hash that out. I'll try to argue the opposite point to see why you believe that certain thing.
Okay.
I believe it
Sounds
because
good.
I'm mostly
Mhm,
doing
mhm.
it, and I see people do
Okay,
certain
okay.
shit,
So-
I don't get involved.
I'm scared.
I watch
Yeah, so from strongly disagree to strongly agree, how do you guys feel about the statement, trans people require dysphoria to be trans?
I'm gonna say very super duper.
Not necessarily.
Comfortable
I don't know.
with this.
I haven't really thought about that.
I've met like a couple trans people in person,
These guys.
and typically it just kind of comes down to what you're more comfortable with.
Because they're gay.
And I mean, if people want to transition, that's fine, but there's also the big important factor that doing it, there are health risks and kind of evaluating the situation before switching over or taking what steps you want to take to get to a certain point of transitioning that you want to
Russia,
be towards. So
Japan,
there are people who just take estrogen or they already look semi-feminine that they are
that's what Trump's talking about.
more likely to be
But I quote that.
oh
that
So
they
right
don't
now
just
want
kidding.
it's like
gay
disagree.
people
Is that like fair to say?
separated.
like disagree with like
They need to be
With the statement,
That
trans
it
people require
is?
dysphoria to be trans.
it's in between because there are some where it is like that and counseling is important before anything. It's important to like consult like a doctor who is more for it.
Yeah.
But
so
I would definitely say for some people, it really does depend because there are people who are intersex or transvestites, which is what it used to be called.
Like
Yeah.
animals.
So like their sex is just kind of like mismatched. They were born with both, so they're not really a gender. They're just kind of like a mix match.
Very terrible
okay, so
game,
how do you
and this
define
game should be
dysphoria?
blocked.
Because maybe that will be a lot
It should
better
be-
to go back and forth. with
Here,
this.
let me see real quick. Yeah.
Pedophiles for children.
I think it's just
and
not
kids
liking your
like
body.
plays this game
Like
with
people have body
children,
dysmorphia all the time,
kids
or
don't play
dis.
this game,
What is it?
they say
Dysphoria?
shouldn't be on this game at all.
Yeah,
Dysphoria.
dysphoria.
Dysphoria. Sorry.
Okay. So
Yeah.
not
Yeah, they
liking
have
your
it
body.
all the time. Like even
I
like
mean-
lifters, for example. Like people who go to the gym, they get body dysphoria all the time.
wants to know about me.
Yeah.
Intelligent.
Okay.
If
So
That is
watch
true there.
numbers,
yeah. So
I'm
the way
intelligent.
I define dysphoria, feel free to stop me at any point here, is that the gender identity and the sex of the person mismatch, causing a lot of like fucked up like mind shit happening. You're like, okay, so you're seeing something
Yeah,
and it
nobody
completely just
does
fucks with you,
anything about
basically.
it. Nobody kicks them. Nobody even the
Mhm,
admin suck.
So yeah,
even
that's my
the
understanding.
admin
That's
knows
how I
anything
use the
about it.
word.
That's for like some people. That's like how some people see it. It just kind of varies from case to case.
Yeah, how do you see it, though?
30 plus because it should be for like
Well,
30
the
plus,
issue is
like
like there's not really
30
one way of
plus,
seeing it. That's like the issue. You can't really just like look at it, define it, and then like say this
I
is
mean,
how it is
to
because
be
there's
able to have
different
like a
cases for each
conversation
person.
on like to be able to have a conversation that like leads anywhere, we would sort of need to have like a working definition moving forward.
I mean,
Yeah.
Private chat.
I don't know. I never really thought about it too much.
Conversation with the owner.
Hmm.
Actually, like talk to him,
You got an outlandish statement to say?
like face to face. Like, what's
I think it's pretty
Cool.
simple.
Hot
I think
take.
it's just
was it about?
I think it's
sex
pretty
or
simple. Like just
Or at
kinda
least
like their
nuance
body.
build.
views or?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think I agree with
That's
that
what I
definition.
think.
Yeah.
What's this game even
Okay.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
would
I
add.
think
I would
social
add, like-
media has like.
Sorry.
Hmm.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, I would add to that
I know
definition
this game would be
saying,
fun 'cause
and
I see a
for
lot of
specifically
YouTubers
for
play
trans
this
people, would be specifically not liking your body in reference to how you perceive it in the realm of gender.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty spot on, I would say.
When I first
Okay,
played it,
so-
in
Yeah.
January, I started on January.
So you seem to be like sort of like neutral,
different.
leaning towards a disagree. So I guess my counter argument to that would be saying, how do I want to word this? So the reason why I believe
I want
that
to agree with
would
you.
be because that like dysphoria should be the leading factor of almost every like movement to like push yourself towards a thing, right? Like say I want to be like a big buff dude, right? I'm not a big buff dude right now, and that fucks with my head, so I start going to the gym, right? And for trans people,
Yeah.
at least from my experience and like talking to other trans people, would be, all right, I think I'm a girl in my mind. I was obviously born a dude, and that's fucking in my head, right? So I'm gonna push myself to be more feminine, push myself to be more feminine, push myself to be more feminine, right? And that's like the through line of almost every trans experience.
Can I say something about
Okay.
that this game?
I would say like about half of them, yeah.
YouTubers play
But
it,
it's also like online presence,
but
like
I
so
really see this game that's
with
so
like
bad
online media
now.
becoming more popular
It's not
by the day,
same
which
as
it already is.
say it would be the same.
A lot of younger kids will get into like these communities, and they're influenced by it. So
Yeah, I feel
it
like
is
it should be
definitely a lot of like
requirement.
online influence.
Like, I have so many questions about
Like
things.
I feel like trans is a
I
strictly like
question.
medical like a medical like dealing,
Like, I'm
and it
opposite.
should be treated efficiently, like with the health of these people and happiness of these people in mind. But that is like before everything would be the requirement of dysphoria, right?
Okay. Yeah, some form of it at least, yeah. No, wait. So, are you for trans, or are you against it?
I am a trans person.
I break
Okay,
things,
okay.
I build them. I don't
So
build them
I would
with
hope I'm
fucking
for them.
the
I would
S
hope so.
word. I would build
The
them
one
at
trans
a-
person that hates trans people.
Yeah, no.
The
I'm,
op.
at a city
from my understanding of things, I'm technically what people call like a trans medicalist. Basically, the idea that you aren't trans if you have no experience of dysphoria or you're not doing anything to for transition.
I'm not into trans.
I see.
I'm not transgender at all. I'm a
Yeah. So
trans-
like where do you want to start that discussion? Because I'm down to get dirty with it. You know? I want to hear your
Okay. I don't really have too much of a viewpoint on it, because like, it's hard to debate this topic because it's just kind of like what's been said so far is just kind of like factual for the most part.
Yeah.
It just makes sense.
Yeah. That,
Also,
yeah,
my
that's
brain
why
is
I
like
opened
destroyed
with.
from the cause.
Sure.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's why I opened with like that opening statement to see where we're like sort of at, right? And it seems like from
Yeah.
what I'm getting anyway, it's like you're sort of like drawing from like, all right, the holistic group as it is now, right? And not necessarily what it should be, right? Like you're not making any value statements, you're just making is statements, right?
I'm trying to like make objective statements like,
Yeah,
towards
yeah.
it, like staying within the loop.
Right away.
Yeah, and I'm asking like should
The one
like
thing-
dysphoria be like a like marker for that, yes or no?
I'm putting a stop to every game.
Yeah, I would say it should be a marker. One thing that I do feel like people should understand though, whenever it comes to transitioning, is that whenever you are transitioning, it is important to understand that there is only so far that you can go.
Yep.
And depending on how far you want to go is important, because transitioning to a certain point of a gender reassignment is the surgery for bottom surgery basically, or top surgery, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, bottom surgery is
that kind of stuff. That right there is very, very serious, because that is a life-defining situation, because that'll affect you for the rest of your life. And from the current research and surgeries that we have right now, I don't feel like that it's worth it for people to go through with it. But for the people who have gone through with it and are happy with it, it's good for them because they feel more comfortable with a sense of self. And
so I'm gonna play a role here. I'm gonna be clear in saying that I do not agree with what I'm saying, but I want to see I'm gonna counter argument. Let's sort of test things. What would somebody who believes the opposite say, right? And from my perspective, from people I've talked to who don't think it is, it's sort of a factor of respect rather than dysphoria, right? It should be, it's as long as you have respect for this person and they aren't doing any inherent harm, right? What is the issue with saying, oh, I'm a trans girl, right? Even if they don't have that internal experience. What's the harm?
No issue with it. There's not really an issue with it. It's just kind of saying what you want to be, perfectly fine. It's just whenever it comes to more serious things, whenever it comes to body changing, in terms of hormones or surgical procedures, that's whenever it's important to start considering medical help to make sure, if you do want to follow through with it, just to make sure you are doing it safely. And
so if this person who isn't having this dysphoric experience and is saying, oh, I am trans male to female, right? You would actively work to hey, no, stop. We shouldn't be doing any medical or life-altering things to that person.
Stop them from doing it. I would just tell them to probably consult somebody. Depending on what stage they want to go to and how fast they want to do it, I would suggest that they consult somebody to ensure that if they do want to transition, or they just say that they're... Well, okay, so if they just say that they are and they don't really go further from that, then I don't really see an issue with that. But whenever it comes to transitioning, by hormonal or surgical means, that is whenever you should consult a doctor, because that's whenever things get a bit more serious, because health issues could precede any varying medications or surgeries. And with bottom surgery, with mainly bottom surgery, that is much more harmful on the body overall.
Yeah, I understand. But, somebody who would be saying disagree that requirement, they would be making sort of the statement that the medical experience of transness is not a integral part. It would be more of the identity statement that would be an integral part, right? And mutual respect off of that would be the thing that why it should be respected, right? Or why it should be.
Yeah, no, that's. Yeah, that makes perfect sense there. That's pretty self-explanatory, I guess, but that's perfectly fine. If they're just saying they are, no problem with that.
Yeah. But you wouldn't you wouldn't say oh yeah, this person isn't trans though, because if we were to go to say trans people require dysphoria to be trans, then right, and somebody's making this claim of oh I am, and like I don't have a dysphoric experience, right? Can you still use these things towards me? Like, would you be like favorable towards
You
that?
see the tiny Lego. You see the tiny Lego. Oh my god, yeah, he
Here.
blocks like everyone in the whole server.
Uh.
Troll. No, he's trying to fucking he's trying to like harass
I
these
actually hate
people over
trolls
here,
and furries.
but he's live
I don't
streaming,
really know.
blocking everyone else except for them.
Take your time.
I don't know if they can still see him. They might have blocked him.
Anyway.
Wait, can you repeat it real quick? Just
Yeah, I got you. So,
We destroy
if you agree with the statement, trans people require dysphoria to be trans, right? And somebody says, all right, I am trans, let's say male to female, and I have no dysphoric experience and no intent to like medically like further like transition. Can you please call me like she, her? Would that be a thing that would you be amicable towards or good towards?
You know, I'd actually.
it would probably take time if I knew the person for a while, or like depending on how they like look and act. It kind of comes down to like what properties do they have as like a person, physical and mental. So, and also like vocal, because that also plays a big factor. If they were planning on like more or less trying to like improve themselves, like so, let's say they don't really like they don't really like look like a they don't really look too feminine. It might be a bit more difficult for me to adjust to that because me personally, I'm not really good with pronouns. And then again, for pronouns, they're just kind of like titles in some way. It's kind of like the title of dating. Because it's just a title, it's just something that you put on, like, it's like a stamp, right? Because you can just switch it around, like, say, oh, I'm not dating, or I'm dating. Well, it can also be like, you can just be fluid in that state, because you're, like, okay, I'm she, her, or I'm he, him.
So, my one, like, issue with that is, like, the reason we have pronouns like in our like language right now as we speak is like a means to identify like gender presentation, right? And if somebody is like asking somebody if hey, can you please call me like she, her, right? Like if this person is like doing nothing to like match that label, it's like saying, like using that dating example, it's like, let's say there's two people that are like flirting or whatever, and they say like they're dating, and then you ask the other person, and it's like, no, like I fucking hate this person, right? And that's sort of like how it feels.
But now it's kind of boring, you know? Nobody actually wants to play with it
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
Is it legal in the state of New Jersey nowadays to identify yourself as a Walmart trash bag? I mean, it's 2024. Let's get real.
All right, cool. Serious question, Doug.
I'm the king of everything.
Yeah. So,
I'm going back to this.
like, what do you think about that like counter argument? I guess, right?
That reminds me of like that Vita Carnage.
I mean, if they don't respect it, then it's just kind of up to the person to decide if they still want to be friends, I would say, or if they still want to associate with that person.
Dude, no way you're actually gonna get.
What do you mean, like the trans person or the?
Aliens are real.
The trans person, like the person who like wants to go by like certain pronouns or like wants to like be a certain somebody. In that case, it comes down to like if they still want to be like friends with that person who's not really respecting it. If it's mutual and like the understanding that like they're gonna keep saying the old pronouns, but the person's okay with it, like the trans person's okay with it, then it just kind of comes down to how they interpret it. Like, because it's their option to be a certain gender or describe themselves as a certain gender.
Yeah.
With pronouns.
It would be on them to say, hey, like I am trans, right? They said that statement and they're like using, like that like iconography, I guess, to like signal it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's
before anything, like, if that does like happen, and they just don't really like adjust, having a conversation with them about it and kind of trying to explain it
Yeah, but
is probably the best option.
So the issue that I'm having is if they don't have dysphoria, right? And they're making that claim, like, to like transness, right? It's like, to me anyway, if how do I describe this? Like, if the person like doesn't have like that like dysphoria, the entire reason you're asking other people like to like use different pronouns is so that dysphoria doesn't get out of like control with like within like a friend group, right? But if you don't have that experience, then what purpose does that have other than like just to control speech?
I don't even know how to speak. I'm not really much of a speaker.
Mr. Angel, may I ask what you're listening to? I'm trying to get on that.
And I don't like to listen to furries or
That's a hard one.
the curse. And these symbols. What do these mean?
I'm being aired out.
I feel like I'm way too in the middle with this. It's like really hard for me to debate this topic.
Yeah, that's why I'm.
Because,
That's why
like-
I'm sort of like arguing both sides. Let me be clear. So it's like, I'm literally, I'm just like trying to like see where you're at, basically.
Yo, Mr. Blue Fairy, you're looking
The issue is
scary.
like I'm on
Why?
both sides, right?
It's just
Because
how
like
you're
there's like
saying
the
it,
area
it
where
scares me.
dysphoria is important, like where people have dysphoria and like
Oh my
go
God.
through like
Oh my God.
medical treatment and other stuff, and then there's people who don't really have dysphoria, but they just feel more inclined to go towards that direction. I mean, me personally, I'm more feminine, I would say.
What's going
like,
on?
in terms of like myself, I took a bit of estrogen, like to change my body type a little bit, but that was just like become more thin, and it was just kind of like a yeah, I know.
There's jokes that could be made, but I like that's not my place. That's not my place.
If you want estrogen, just drink white monsters, dude.
True.
Oh my
I'm-
God,
I'm
I can't do
chugging one
that.
right now as we speak.
I don't. How do y'all fucking drink that shit? It's
Cognac.
so bad. It's so bad.
No, white gummy
Dude,
bear
oh my
rains. That's what you should drink.
Oh, gross.
Even though it'll
Dude, I don't.
fuck you up.
I don't have energy drinks, man. I don't drink that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's not my
Okay,
thing.
so where were we?
Nah.
So basically
Okay, what is it? Yeah.
controlling speech point. Yep.
I'm Pangean.
Yeah.
I'm Pangea.
I really don't know what to say for that. It's such middle ground. Oh my God.
Yeah, somebody in the chat actually like posted like a really good like question that sort of like may help frame this specific
Ooh.
thing. How
Yeah,
much
yeah.
of like my of your own self-image must I play an active role in for like your comfort, basically?
Ooh. Okay.
Oh, that's a good question.
Well, okay. So you can have an idea of who you want to be,
Person that does not like anyone,
but
who does not like any of the world.
it really comes down to how far you want to push that ideal onto other people, I would say. And also onto yourself, because you can, like, for bodybuilders, this is kind of like going back to, like, the workout point, people can really push themselves to improve or, like, self-improve and still not be happy with the results. Kind of goes the same with, like, transitioning, because you can just, there's different levels of transitioning where you could, like, push yourself to be at a certain level.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a scale of going up, or like where you want to be at, and where are you comfortable with being on that scale.
Like me personally, I'll draw
Yep.
personal examples. Like I don't really have much like genital dysphoria, but I know some people like look at that and would they just want to like rip it off their skin, right?
I kind of get it.
Yeah.
From what I've seen personally, they are
So yeah.
No,
so,
100%. I mean, like,
Yeah, so that's like sort of like the question in terms of, like the non-dysphoria, like the non-dysphoric trans person, like what would be like the like expect like I guess like the expected like behavior of that kind of person. Right? They are like truly non-dysphoric.
Someone-
They feel no dysphoria.
someone who's probably like not really dysphoric is just a generally more chill person who isn't too crazy about transitioning, but they would rather transition over because they feel more comfortable or they feel more oriented to go towards it.
I would argue like that comfort point is sort of like lends credence to like dysphoria, or like sort of like hints in like the direction. Like what I mean by that is like what do you know about gender actually, before I go any deeper?
Like what type of, like, are you talking about like the multiple genders, or like?
Yeah, what's your just like what's your like what do you know about like gender theory?
Not a whole lot, but I'd probably say, in my opinion, there is. I would like to say that there's 3 sexes, like, but gender is kind of like its own broad spectrum, because you can kind of like label yourself as anything. And whenever it comes to gender, there's like male, female, and intersex, where like intersex is kind of like an amalgamation of different like formations, because you can be more feminine or more masculine. So
yeah,
it's very hard because like
So when I like say like a gender, like when I like specifically refer to this like concept, what I mean when I say it, right, is like I think gender is on a spectrum between masculine and feminine, and there's like 2 bumps basically. Think of like a binomial distribution, like little 2 titties in a fucking spectrum, right? Like where you have like an average male, average female, and that's like you have more average males, you have more average females, but you can have a hyper masculine guy, you can have a hyper feminine girl, or like somebody completely in the middle, androgynous, right?
Yeah.
And that's in what gender is in reference to like social stuff would be how you present. So if I like sound like a dude, for example, or a girl, I would expect others. That's my gender presentation, right? I would expect others to act accordingly, right? And what this goes earlier to our like definition of like dysphoria, right? There's also this concept of identity, which is something that we're born with, like this gender identity. For most people, their gender identity and their sex are the exact same. And for trans people, it's different, or like in another area on this like masculine feminine spectrum. So when somebody says, "Oh yeah, I would feel more comfortable as like a female," to me that just like I like think of that in like a dysphoric lens, because they're saying my internal self feels more comfortable in a more feminine body rather than the one I was born in.
Yeah, that's a dysphoria into some degree.
Yeah, and this is why I'm like being very like I guess pedantic with like the non-dysphoric point. When I say that, I mean somebody's sex and their gender identity, what's in their brain, are the exact same, basically.
Yeah. Whereas I think like the main issue is like whenever it comes to like intersex people, you're technically both. So whenever you're that young, you don't really get to choose which one you want to be, which is like the big issue. So people
sort of
who
like have the ability to just choose is pretty interesting.
Well, no, you don't have. You can't choose because at birth your parents typically choose the option for you. So you could be born intersex, and then you could be given the male genitalia, or like have the surgery to be more like masculine. But whenever you start growing up, you're more feminine, like as an entire whole. Because there have been people who were like, you know, what is it? They were basically grown up like they were raised as like a boy, but because of their traits from intersex, like the intersex birth, they're more feminine. So they could be more like feminine as like a guy.
Yeah, but that's sort
which
of like
is definitely very more confusing.
Yeah, it sort of lends credence to my point, because I like sex isn't as like binary as people think either, right? Obviously, they're like male and female is the predominant thing, but you raise a good point with like intersex stuff.
Yeah.
But that doesn't like it still sort of lends credence to my point of like gender identity and like gender presentation. Like that mishmash causes like dysphoria, right? So if like an intersex person, right, their body looks like naturally, their natural gender like presentation is like different than what their mind is saying. Yeah, this is what I want to be, right? That sort of causes fuckery, right? So like this like system of like thinking of things, I think anyway, describes that kind of thing as well.
I think just intersex people, whenever it comes down to it, I feel like they're less dysphoric because they are in that middle ground where if they are like raised as like the opposite gender from what they would have more comfortably been, it's kind of like a weird gray area because they could be raised as a guy and they could be more feminine because of how their body was. So it just comes down to like...
It depends on the person, to be frank.
Yeah.
The average person experiences no dysphoria, and I would say this is like a good 90% of people. Yeah.
Okay, I think I got a statement here. So I would say people who are not intersex will experience more dysphoria because they have like a direct sex. So like male and female, it's more direct there because they were born with that part. And then intersex people, they're in a weird gray area where technically they can be both, but at the same time, it's not exactly easy really to decide where they kind of fall in, because for some people they could be more feminine, for some people they could be more masculine, and then they could be flip-flopped.
Yeah, if you're speaking from a general point of view, I think I would agree with you. But like my problem comes with like this like idea that like my like understanding of like dysphoria is more like a gender expression and like gender identity mismatch, and sex and your sex influences your natural like gender expression, right? This is what your body is naturally inclined to be.
Yeah.
So like, so when I hear like, oh, like a gender fluid person, sorry, not fluid, intersex person, I don't know, I thought it said gender fluid, that's my bad. Like an intersex person has like is less likely to be dysphoric. My mind goes like, well, it goes, really depends on like the person, and I would feel like it would be more often like a cis person would be more likely to like align from their identity and their expression, right?
I don't know. Don't quote me on that. It's somewhere.
Yeah. Actually, like now that you say it out loud, I wouldn't say that they'd be less dysphoric, but I would say they have more of a reason to kind of like push towards that, because if they're more fit for like a separate gender or a separate sex, then pushing towards that would be much more probably a bit healthier for them mentally and also maybe physically.
Yeah.
But then again, like it still comes down to that gray area of intersex people. There's not really a defining factor of where people fall for intersex.
Yeah, it's a lot more like variable, and that's like where like we get into like more like the medical system and stuff. But like the general like rule like stands, I feel, and I feel like it accounts for it somewhat. So going back to like the point of like the non-dysphoric person, now that we have like sort of like a mutual understanding of like this non-dysphoric person, right? I get like my issue is like if they're singling like I am trans, I want to be called like she her pronouns. It's like
any more? Did you start it?
that's sort of like what influenced that like question of like control of speech, I guess. Like now that we have like a better understanding, like mutual anyway, like do you think you'd be like better equipped to answer that?
I think I still kind of fall into the same scenario, like circumstance, in that like there's not really like a defining thing for me. Like I can really define out, but I do have like a wonky statement to present, possibly. What about somebody who is what is it? What about somebody who likes to be called a gender, but they still represent like, or they still represent like a different like they still represent like their original sex. So like, let's say somebody wants to like be called a woman, or like they like being called a woman by people because they like look for it more feminine, but then they're a guy and they represent like being a guy at that point,
so-
or they represent being male.
So, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling somebody who is non-dysphoric a woman, right? If they ask for it and you respect them, I think that's fine. But like, my curiosity lies is whether that should be like, at what level are you like have some level of obligation, or at what level does that like get drawn? To like you're like obliged, I guess, to like say
Yeah.
like she, her, or whatever, right?
Okay. Huh. It's not really too much I can really think of for this, like, this topic, I would say. I feel like both statements of, like, dysphoria and sex and, like, gender, all of that kind of, like, conversation here is kind of, like, I think it's in a good state from our point of views for the most part.
Yeah. But I'm very curious on like, for you personally, at what level do you feel like obliged to say like you are like she, her, and like how much? That's a bad way to ask that. Like, do you sort of understand what I'm saying? Because I'm struggling to put it into words a little bit.
No, like, what is it? I feel like if you want to associate with a gender, me personally, I feel like you should work towards being more like that and more or less working towards looking that way a bit, because there are some people who it sounds rude, but like there's some people who don't have any feminine traits.
Yeah,
but
they're still asking like, oh, can you call me she, her? And,
yeah, or like the opposite way.
yeah.
But at the same time, it's like you don't want to be rude.
Yeah,
but it's
so what
a
about
very,
the question
it's a very
of like
difficult
respect?
situation.
It's like, it's a question of respect, right? So.
Yeah. Okay, actually, that's going back to the question of respect. Yeah. I mean, respecting that, yeah, it's definitely okay. I would say it's fine if they want to be associated with that, but like if they're too serious about it, if you mess up a couple times, then it kind of becomes a problem. It's a weird like gray area, not a gray area, but like it kind of comes down to like each person's like factor of how much they care about it. Because the person who wants to say the opposite sex, if they're like heavily enforcing it or like heavily pushing it, and the person who isn't exactly like the best at isn't the best at like correcting themselves, then it kind of comes down to who's gonna like give up on the person first at that point, I guess.
Okay, so
I really think it comes down to that.
I have an extreme example.
Alright, lay it on me.
So let's say we have a trans person, like a trans woman, who experiences intense dysphoria to the point that it leads them to suicidality. And like if they get called like a dude or like look masculine, it genuinely like causes mental distress, right? Like intense mental distress. So under that circumstance, would you say that you would be like obliged to say, yeah, she, her, if this person does feel this mental distress towards this person, like towards this like action?
I mean, like, it comes down back to respect at that point, but like if they're at that point that is where they should definitely seek more medical help. And also, I would suggest like a psychiatrist or psychologist for that kind of thing, because they can help work them through that, like, kind of like coming more like to like a normal term with it. Because if it's like at an extreme, then there are definitely like more. What is it? If it's okay, if it's at like an extreme like that, then it's definitely more of a mental issue. I would say like there's more going on than just like them as a person like being want to be called something. It's probably something else on top of that that's like really causing that mental distress. Because like you could be unhappy with your like body and whatnot, like, or like unhappy like how people call you, but generally if it's to a point where you're causing arguments over something very small, it's definitely kind of like a temper thing, or you're just more prone to be aggravated.
I'm not saying they're like lashing out. I'm just saying they experience an intense amount of like mental distress from like getting misgendered.
Okay, if it's just a mental distress, and I would...
Like, is there any obligation to the other party to like call them like she, her in this example?
Yeah, I mean, like, to make them comfortable, obviously. Like, I mean, if they're not, like, if they don't, like, physically lash out in any way, or, like, they're not really aggressive, then at that point, I would say it's fine, just trying to respect it as best as possible. But in the case still, I would suggest that they would go talk to a psychologist, psychiatrist about it, to sort of work through it, to help them like more understand like where they fall in, or like how they want to feel, or just make them like feel more comfortable about themselves in that case. Because for everybody it doesn't work for therapy, but for some it might work, and it's best to try. It's best to try and see like how it works. And also like switching different like psychologists or psychiatrists can also have a different effect, and also seeking somebody who is more trained in the field of like transitioning, or like they're more like acquainted with that. It's definitely better for the person, because then they have someone to talk about with the entire situation that they're going through.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. Do you have any like final questions for me? Final statements, anything like that?
No, not really. I would just say this is a pretty solid debate. Points were basically made that, for the most part, are pretty, I would say, well expressed. Pretty good overall.
Do you feel like you've like learned anything at all, or like that? This is like my main concern, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I don't really think anything was like really majorly changed, but it definitely was like a decent like thinking point, because like kind of looking at everything, like I haven't really talked about it too much, but definitely like the thoughts of it like reside. But like the debating is definitely like helpful, like kind of like getting both sides, or like more sides of like the entire like spectrum of people, like especially going into like intersex people. That's definitely like, I feel like there needs to be more research into that section as a whole, because I feel like there's more issues when it comes to those types of people. Not like a bad issue, but like there can be more issues.
Yeah, you probably want to like be able to help more people, right? So,
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, have a nice day, man. This was really nice.
Same with you. Enjoy your debates.
I will try. Haven't had anything too insane yet. Yeah. Oh shit. So what are your opinion on the black? No, I can't be asking. Yeah, have a great night, man. I'm a world top. I don't think you realized I switched stands. Unfortunate. Yeah. Things are going well. I feel like I can be doing it like better in terms of arguing like on the opposite, because all I'm really doing right now is like proposing counters. That's really all I'm doing. So, like, what if extreme example Y does this belief still hold, kind of thing? That's sort of like where I'm trying to go with these. Still like learning as I'm going, but for sure. But I feel like this is so far so good. I feel like I want to get a little bit spicier. This is one that I am not as prepared on. I'll be honest. Femboys aren't real. I think we've had fun. I think we've had fun with the trans conversations. Getting into it with like the addictive aspects of VR chat, like as an opener. That's cool. That's whatever. So I'm fucking ready. I'm ready. Okay, let's see if I can. I feel like going to like a femboy Hooters might be a little bit inflammatory, but be the perfect space to have this discussion. Is there an active femboy Hooter lobby? Maybe. Oh, there is. Bipolar Femboys and Femboy Inc. group at Publix. Okay. Yeah. This might be... I feel like I'm going to have to reword my statement. Like, femboys aren't real, because it's an inflammatory version. So... if I were to try, like, to not, like, spark any, like, crazy yelling matches, I think femboys have a time limit. Might be better, technically. Or femboy, the term femboy is, like, a transition label, like, as it were. Like, this, you are a normal dude, you're starting to question things. It's like, okay, femboy, I want to be a little bit more feminine, right? That's just talking about the pure like technical aspect of things. Sounds like a threat. Shit. It's really complicated to explain. Basically, I feel like femboys are harmful specifically on VR chat. I don't think as a label it's bad. I don't think as like a theoretical thing is bad, right? But on VR chat, I feel like it provides harm. And the reason why I believe this is because of the dysphoria thing we were talking about earlier. Basically, a normal guy can think, okay, I want to be more feminine, and say, okay, femboy, right? This is it. I'm not sure if you've been on VR chat at all, but then if you look at the femboy avatars, it's practically just presenting as a girl. Like, just fully. And my worry is if somebody is immersed in VR chat, and it is very easy to get immersed, then that they have like some form of kinship with this form of expression that isn't necessarily, or not always necessarily, true to oneself. Because I can think of a reality where, alright, a femboy, alright, then I just want to be slightly more feminine. Maybe I just want clearer skin, shave my legs, arms, that kind of things, and like leave it at that. But there's like a lot of like bells and whistles added on top of it that like make it more and more extreme. Well, hopefully my video will clear it up a little bit, because I am trying my damn best to explain it in a good way. Yeah, if you're not aware, I am making a video on this stuff and like Specifically this kind of thing I'm doing now. Yeah. I am excited for it, and it's looking good. It's looking good. Am I shilling the shit? Yes. Do I care? No. I'm skipping the song. Fuck. Your stream shill away, fair enough. Hey, I I don't want to shill too much, okay? It reflects bad on me, right? I'm no shill. Yeah. I'm shitposting, but oh wait a second. Where is this guy? Yo. Winged, are you at your PC? Oh, fair game. Bro, we talked earlier about like fucking, what was it, memetics? Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to have another quick chat? Yeah. So, I think I mentioned this earlier, but like I do stream like bullshit, right? And I am streaming currently. Are you willing to chat on stream? Yeah. That's fair. Hey yo. Okay. Alright, cool, yo. So basically the format that I'm going with is I'm running around, I'm asking people like some basic questions, and then what's going to happen is I'm going to ask you like a strongly disagree to strongly agree on a statement. Are you okay with that format? Alright, cool. Fuck yeah, dog. So, alright. Why do you think people play VR chat? That's like a starter.
Most of them don't exist.
20% because they think it'll be like the YouTube videos they watch and it'll be funny and entertaining, and the rest a various mix of I kind of want social interaction and I don't know where else to get it.
So like a want for social interaction for the most part?
Yes.
Okay, so do you think VR chat has the like addictive elements?
Absolutely. The mirrors are common. They're common enough that you don't even question it. Everyone wants to see themselves kind of manifested as like a character or like anime or something.
That's extremely weird.
It's very addictive.
Okay. Is there any other like examples like addictive elements that you can think of?
Easily to bring up examples that aren't like super complicated.
I'd say people love, getting into relationships on this game.
Oh yeah, I don't even think about that, but that is an addictive element, I suppose. But that's like any part of the internet. It's not specific to VR chat.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. So if there's anybody that could, I guess, dissuade me from this, it'd probably be you. Okay, let me be completely fair. All right. So on a scale of strongly disagree to agree, and anywhere in between, how do you feel about the statement, like femboys in VR chat are harmful?
femboys in VR chat can't are harmful. Is that the whole statement?
Sorry. I misspoke. It's can't are harmful. I misspoke.
Okay, because that would have been a funny ass meme. But
Yeah. Okay, then.
femboys in VR chat are harmful. Damn,
Like
dude, the old chud in me would definitely be like, yeah, you know, because they're engendering like this type of, I don't know, certain aspects of society that maybe shouldn't just be like shoved onto children who are here in VR chat. Maybe that shouldn't be something that you can just have form into like an echo chamber, like a tornado, you know, without anyone's supervision or something to stop that. But also, not really. Right, like also, there's no real actual harm, but there could be. There's a potential. I could argue for it, but maybe I'm thinking too much into it.
Okay, so where do you land on this, like scale? I guess from strongly disagree to strongly agree.
Slightly. I'm talking like 1 point into agree, only because I personally could argue for it, and therefore I see something wrong. But at this moment, I can't find something that's, you know,
Okay,
where I'd have to
so-
strongly disagree.
Okay. I guess all right, so what do you know, like what do you know about gender, I guess? Cuz I feel like this is sort of like a big hinder of my my like argument, I guess.
I mean, people say gender is like the expression of your sexuality. I kind of disagree. Well, I do agree, but the way they suggest it is if gender is like mixed up with your genetic sex, which it isn't. Sex is different than gender.
Yeah.
You know,
I
it's
agree.
I call it your proclivities. You know, your proclivities, how you express like what it is that you are and what you're doing at all times. You know, it's not going to change your sex though. It's
Yeah,
impossible.
I agree. So, do you think that there is some form of like internal idea of what your gender is?
Yes, there should be at the very least.
Okay. So, I guess where I'm at then is when I see like a femboy, right? Completely removing like the point of children, is let's say like an adult, they don't know anything about VR chat, and I'm sorry, I'm brain fucking here. They don't know anything about VR chat, and they don't have anything like preconceived notions. They get into the game and it's like meet somebody, talk to them. It's like, hey, I want to present slightly more feminine. I think that'd be cool. And what they mean by that is literally slightly more feminine. And what they're told is like, okay, yeah, then you're a femboy, right? And I'm sure you've seen like a lot of the femboy like avatars in this game. And so it's like, instead of that like slight thing, it is extreme, like borderline just presenting as a woman. And what happens, at least from my perception, maybe I'm wrong on this, is that with that kinship of that label of femboy, right, and then an expression that would match that label, aka this extreme femininity, and the fact that like it is possible for, or I would say like exceedingly possible for like somebody to be just like want to be like slightly more feminine and then pushed into that to cause more dysphoria within that person that otherwise would not exist, and I would also argue isn't necessarily true to their like self.
Correct.
Hello.
Oh, what's
I
up,
have a
Normal
question.
Cat?
What are we talking about? Hello.
We're talking
how
about
are
femboys. I think they're harmful in VR chat. You want to join?
Yes.
All right. So where do you like
Interesting.
land on that statement from like strongly agree to strongly disagree?
So, what's the...
Oh, so I
question
should let you know
that I'm
I'm streaming.
answering?
Are you okay with that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should have told you earlier. I'm sorry.
It's in your status.
Yeah. No, I'm
Yep.
still asking because that's I don't feel comfortable with people not being told. Yeah. So where do you land on that?
Alrighty. What's the question exactly?
So it's from a scale to strongly disagree to agree or strongly agree. How do you feel about the statement femboys in VR chat are harmful?
Honestly, I'm not on here enough to like have an opinion on that.
Okay. Fair enough. Wing, would you be able to like provide like? Would you be able to like think of like a counter argument to like the argument I presented?
That femboys are harmful. The thing is, I fucking agree. You know, like,
Yeah.
from that perspective, right? Like the propaganda, this extreme, fucking projection, this idealized form that probably isn't something, because they're gonna get it mixed up. Instead of having it just be, well, I feel a certain way. Now your sexuality is fucking being put into. Now your fetishization is being put into it. Things that they have no idea is coming from a far less like a.
Yeah, let's
like
put our mind
objective.
together. Let's put our mind together. Let's say, let's try to think of like something that would be a valid way to say, to disagree with this point, right? What
Like to
what like angle would you
interject.
poke at that from? Yeah, like what objection can we make?
My objection probably would be not a very good objection, but I would say that there are certainly a lot of worse things that I have seen and experienced in VR chat that are that are
there's
they're
obviously
not as
worse,
bad
but
as the
this is,
femboy
like-
thing.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think that stuff has the equal amount of chance to like pull in like quote unquote normal people? Because I agree that there's like very
Yeah,
extreme.
there's
things
other
that these
things.
games- Yeah.
I mean, like you could go to the racism or the like the manipulative people or even the cults that are in VR chat. You could go to that extent.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that, but like I feel like you could still call like it's still not like really pointing anything out with the actual point itself. It's just saying there is worse, like there's bigger fish to fry, basically. But
Yeah,
like, that fish still exists.
How could I formulate an argument saying that femboys? I'll play devil's advocate here and say that femboys are sort of a positive space, a positive thing to have in VR chat. 'Cause I don't feel like femboys have a lot of spaces to be in. Maybe you could probably say Discord, but.
Like I can see
kinda
the argument
everywhere.
of like a quote unquote like safe space where like people would be like less like or more like less free of judgment. Sorry, that is not what I meant to say, bro. I don't know how the English language works apparently today. More free of judgment.
Not into the lexicon right now.
Yeah.
You could put it to that angle, I suppose.
Like
And say
I
that
still feel
femboys are a lot safer in VR chat than most other places, really.
for sure there is also that case of like there is no other real place for that like kind of expression to be had, and I think that's good, right?
Hardly. VR chat's kind of I don't want to say this in a rude way, but like a sexual magnet.
What do you
A
mean?
sexually expressive magnet. I mean, it
almost
isn't,
everything
it isn't
is
like
tainted with it.
there's
I think you can really like
a big
express yourself
subculture
in
within
VR
VR
chat.
chat.
Like
There's a huge
you can
subculture in
like
VR chat that has to do with
like more
expressing
direct. You
sexuality.
you can express yourself very more direct in VR chat, because like with like your bio and each like avatar and stuff, and like all these different like types of people and like the groups and stuff, you can really like express yourself, if you know what I mean. And I think that's like, yeah.
I
Like in
feel
like,
like
Call of Duty or something, you can't really do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if we're going to be going down that point, like I feel like the counter argument I would like pose would like, yes, it is like a more safe space, but like then I would like I can easily say, oh, okay, that's still like part of a problem then because it's still causing some level of dysphoria, right? And it doesn't seem like there's much in the like spaces that at least I've seen that dissuade like extreme like acceptance of this thing, because they obviously just want more people that are like them, right?
Correct. Which is why none of these arguments can be even added as a counter argument, because they're not good. They don't really work as a counter argument to that, because that is too obvious.
Yeah,
it's
so
obvious that like a human shouldn't be that unbalanced.
Yeah, what would be a good counter argument then? 'Cause, like my argument, like maybe it would be like an appeal to like what like an average person would be, right? Maybe like your average person, if they genuinely think that they're like slightly more femme, would not be as likely to go down that extreme path, right? Maybe that's like maybe that would be valid, but I'm not sure, you know?
I can see people being more in touch with their feminine side because that exists within each human, you know. I can't just say words like, oh, right brain, left brain, but like basically, you know, there's proclivities include a spectrum of ways that you were going to express yourself. And for whatever reason, some people are just born destined to express themselves in a certain way than another. And VR chat does allow you to do that. You know, you can put on a female avatar and you can make it beautiful. It's going to be sexualized, or you can make it not sexualized if you have more self-control, but you're going to be experiencing it everywhere else. It is possible that allowing that to be a space and creating it can help us, like, I don't know, actualize, like, become better people.
Yeah.
But that's,
Sorry,
yeah.
Continue. Sounds like you're going.
No, that's pretty much the end. That's about as good as I'm gonna get for playing
a
devil's
counter-
advocate.
Yeah.
In that situation,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go like a slightly more meme direction, because why not? I'm in a goofy mood. What do you think about this statement? Femboys have a time limit.
100%. 100%. Because femboy in and of itself isn't the actualization of the person and their femininity. The femboy is a fetishization. Femboy is a sexual fetish. That's what that is.
Yeah.
You run out of time to be sexually attractive.
Yeah, so like, what would you say to like the idea of like a 60-year-old that like is still like sort of like clinging to like the aesthetic of femboy stuff?
Ouch.
Yeah, femboy, it's time to be.
get a
Oh,
life.
it's. you might
Like,
as well. You should
they stick with
gracefully.
it.
Listen, you should gracefully evolve into your maternal, fucking womanly father. Like, I don't know how else to fucking put it, dude. Stop being a femboy and grow up.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Is there any questions for me or any final statements, anything like that before I move on?
No.
How big is it?
I do have a.
Bigger than yours, pal.
I do have a statement, and I just want to say that like something, like a sexual time limit is absolutely not a new thing. It's something that's even been revolving around the ancient televisual media of they'll make like comments about women that have passed their prime or men that have passed their prime and say you're just a washed up something or other. So the femboy thing, definitely new in aesthetic, not new in practice or the general idea.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think I agree with you for the most part there. Yeah. Yeah, it was lovely running into that. I'm just world hopping, so I didn't know you were in here. Hey, look at the world list.
My boy knows.
No worries. These are all my friends, by the way. Look at all my friends.
Thank you for
Oh my God.
stopping by.
I'm
Yeah, thanks for submitting.
We're all kitties, but I don't think you have our avatars shown.
Oh, I only had
All the
theirs.
same kid.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, they're literally all me.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
Except
yeah,
for that
yeah.
one who's
Yeah.
actually just a
Besides
fucking
me.
cat. They're just, yeah, they're
Yeah.
an actual cat.
Okay, well,
I'm a
have-
3D
have-
scan of a cat.
Oh shit, really?
And thanks for like coming around and visiting our cult. I have pamphlets if you're ready to join.
Oh shit.
Absolutely. We don't have Kool-Aid today. So
No,
we'll be
but
around for a while.
we do
Can I join?
we do have a lesson. It's called the map of the spectral observable existence.
Fun.
Yes.
Fun days.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna continue World Top and y'all have fun, right? Yep, you too. Interesting days. I feel like that went well for being as unprepared as I am. Like, I have a general feeling, but I feel like coming up with like counter arguments can be hard because it is a pretty bulletproof point. I feel like the only one you can like reasonably make for Femboys is that thing. Two things: like minds are together, so you can appeal to the fact that they've probably found each other for a reason, right? And the other like appeal I would probably make is that the one that I made is like people are less likely to go down the extreme if they don't like earnestly extreme. If they're not earnestly that extreme. Another one I can probably think of is the one that we mentioned there, which is the one of it's more likely, or it is a good thing to be able to, I guess, inhabit, to, I guess, explore your like self, to then be a more like a full person of yourself. I feel like those are the only valid disagreements, really, because like anything else I can like easily point out with like the dysphoria point, because like, okay, well, there's like, yeah, I don't know, it's I can't think of any other ones, you know. Maybe I'm just being slow here, but that's where my mind runs. For the most part, I think these conversations have gone well, which I'm surprised by. Cause like as I said earlier, I'm literally just sort of like playing the game of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Here's a point. Here's your counter. How do you deal with that counter, right? It's like my main belief is like sort of like tertiary to a lot of the discussion at hand, which I think is good. Generally, and that's why I'm conducting myself in this manner. But like, I'm not sure if there's any better ways or like ways I can more meaningfully distinguish like this like counter argument to real belief thing. I don't know how else to describe it. Bonjour. Are you at your PC? I don't think they are. Unfortunate. Yeah, no, they're definitely AFK. Okay. Bonjour. Hello. Are you available for a minute or two? Actually, I should ask, do you have like a microphone or that we can like chat with? Oh shit, you do. Holy fuck. Okay. Yeah, what's up? Yeah. Oh, you're all good. You're all good. Do you have a minute? Do you want to have a quick chat? Neither. I'm gonna ask you a question, and then I'm gonna ask you how you feel about a sentence, and we're basically just gonna go back and forth if you're okay with that. All right. Okay. Are you okay with being streamed? You're not audible or visible right now. I am streaming. Yeah, you're good, mate. You're good. To be fair, I think this avatar would be fine for Twitch, but Never safe than sorry, I guess. Always safe than sorry. I'm losing the ability to say human words. I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into the brass tacks. So, why do you think people play VR chat?
Why do I think people play VR chat?
Yeah.
I think people play it because, in my eyes, there's multiple reasons. But the reason why I believe they play it is to have a sense of belonging. Maybe they can't find a belonging. They can't find connections that they want in real life. So they get on VR chat. They could also be bored and want something new to play.
Okay, so like a sense of belonging and okay. Alright, do you think there's any like addictive elements to VR chat? Like, would you say it's an addictive game by nature?
I feel like the addicting part of VR chat is the fact that it is a game, and so it does bring more and more people to come play it often. It's kind of like social media, like Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, where you keep coming in based off the new stuff that you find and the new experiences that you have with random people. Sometimes some people just can't connect with VR chat, and so they let it go.
Yeah, what do you think people like what do you think makes people like want to connect to the metaverse, I guess?
What makes me think that people want to connect? Your mic cut out a little bit. What was the question again?
Okay, so you said it is a game, so it brings more and more people to play it more often, and new experiences cause people are good and they make people happy. They play it, right? Some people don't really get as connected to that, so they disconnect and they don't play it that often. So what do you think makes people want to connect? Other than that sense of belonging, can you think of anything else, or is that the big thing for you, or the big number one thing?
It's funny that you asked. I actually just recently did a video on loneliness and VR and how people can use virtual reality to cope with their loneliness. I don't think that it's just a feeling of wanting to connect with people. That is a big contributor. I guess from my own personal experience, I wanted to try something new instead of playing the same game all day. I wanted to try VR chat. So I fit in the boat of just wanting to try something different. But like I said, I don't think that just needing a sense of belonging is the only reason why people stay on VR chat.
Okay, so I'm gonna. All right. So, do you believe such a thing as a VR chat pipeline exists?
What is that? What is a VR chat pipeline?
It's the idea of a normal person entering the game, right? No preconceived notions. They haven't even heard of this game before. They just get on and try it out, right? And the idea is, if somebody spends enough time in VR chat, they're going to inevitably become one of the stereotypes of VR chat. Think you're femboys, think you're furries, think you're e-boys, e-girls.
I don't. This is the first time I've ever. This is the first time I'm ever hearing the concept of a VR chat pipeline. I did hear someone talk about a school to prison pipeline when I was younger, but I bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stealing
The
memes
only
from
reason why I
alt-right.
bring that up. The only reason why I bring that up is because that's the only time I've ever heard of anything that's like a pipeline. Someone was complaining about their son was sent to prison because of a school to prison pipeline, which was all nonsense. Their son was an actual criminal. But getting back on topic, I don't believe that there is a VR chat pipeline. It could be.
I believe so. So what makes you say
It
you
could
don't?
be.
What makes you say, okay, this is probably not a thing?
It's hard for me to like answer this.
Yeah, take your
It's
time.
hard
Take
for me
as
to
much
give
time
a
as you need.
definitive answer. It's hard for me to give a definitive answer because
I can work with vibes.
I'm not gonna lie.
I can work with vibes.
Because again, I'm a little different. I would consider myself a normal dude, but I had a little bit of knowledge of what VR chat was before I got on it, and I did become a femboy. But then again, I always questioned my sexuality, so it wasn't like all instant.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm kind of like, I feel like it could exist, but I don't believe that it's set in stone that these factors must happen for you to become essentially a stereotype of whichever stereotype you become, whether it's an e-boy or femboy or furry or the
So
other
it's
examples you
possible, is
named.
what you're saying, but you can't say anything
Yes.
definitive. Okay. So
Yes.
So the reason what led me to this belief, right, is like the idea of like people influencing people. Basically, depending on your environment, it will greatly influence what you will become. And on VR chat, the culture of it is very like what I like to describe radically comfortable. What I mean by that, given an anonymity and given like the fact that this exists, people feel comfortable enough to basically inhabit and are given then tools to inhabit the extremes of a certain idea. So when like I say like these pipelines exists, right? It's basically the idea somebody gets on, they meet these people who are exhibiting these extreme things or perceived extreme things, and since people influence people, they are going to like sort of get pushed in that direction slowly, right? And that's sort of like what led me to that belief. Is there at any point where you like disagree at that, or like have like an interjection?
I wouldn't disagree at all because, like I said, I got on and I would consider myself just a quote unquote normal dude who wasn't like one of the stereotypes, though I did find a femboy world, and they introduced me to a whole lot of stuff because back then, 2 years ago, actually, you know what, not even 2 years ago, I always thought like femboys weren't real. I thought it was just like, I don't know the age range of your
We can get
stream.
into that if you want.
What's the age range of the stream? I probably should have asked that at the beginning.
I don't like. Okay, so it's technically 16 plus. That's my like target. But so like I don't care about like I technically don't care about slurs or like swearing. Just don't be like explicit. Like I don't want like somebody to like describe like some weird ass kinky shit. Like that's like where my line is.
All right, so I'm gonna use the correct term instead of the slang. So,
oh boy,
how could I say this? I thought femboys didn't exist and was purely made up for pornography, like hermaphrodites. There are hermaphrodites that really do exist, but their genitals aren't fully functional in the way that the videos are in those pornographic videos. So I thought femboys were like that. But when I went to the femboy world, I was like, wait, they're actually real? And somebody was like, yeah, they're real. And long story short, I was more into femboys, and I would say that's how I guess I became a femboy. Though what is a stereotypical person becoming a stereotype, you could say that my environment that I kept going to was a femboy world. I feel like if I went to a different world, I probably would be someone different. Like if I just kept finding furry stuff, I probably would be a furry.
Okay. So okay, then let's spice it up a little. It's a little bit more challenging. Okay. So. I'm gonna ask you, like, I'm gonna say a statement, and I want you to like say whether you strongly disagree or through strongly agree of this statement, and it could be anything in between. So, what do you feel about this statement? Femboys in VR chat are harmful.
Because I don't have any context, I'm gonna have to disagree. Because I feel like they can't be harmful at all. The game is 13 plus, so anybody that's 12 or younger shouldn't play anyway. And again, since there's no context to that statement other than you feel femboys are harmful, I'm gonna just, like I said before, disagree. They're not really harming anyone but themselves, if you want to look at it in that lens, because they're trying to be feminine instead of masculine.
Yeah. Do you think, like, when I say harmful, are you like perceiving that as like they're going to like hurt people surrounding the femboy? Or are we talking? Like, how are you perceiving that?
Femboys are not harmful.
Okay, so I'm gonna run an argument past you, and then we can get into the brass tacks after that and go back and forth. I'm gonna be transparent in saying that with my discussion with you, I'm basically going to be trying to give you like counters of what your beliefs are, so we can maybe get a further understanding of why you believe the thing. That's my intent. So when I say femboys are harmful, what I mean by that is, given like the normal dude, and given the fact that we're like sort of like getting pushed in these environments, I feel like a lot of people have like genuine questions about their presentation. So like what I mean by that is, like, I feel like it's valid to say, hey, I'm a dude, I'm straight, but I want to be slightly more feminine. Right? And what, like, if you're saying like this to somebody who's playing VR chat, if you say that to someone, the diagnosis you're basically going to get is, yeah, femboys. But you've seen like femboy avatars, right? They're practically like presenting as women. They're like very to the extreme end, or very close to like the extreme end of like the feminine like scale of things. So where I feel like the harm is when you have a kinship with a idea, the idea being femboy, and a model or a being to inhabit that label freely, and that expression doesn't match the internal reality of the person trying to experiment. It will lead to stuff like gender dysphoria and more confusion than otherwise.
All right, let me.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
I'm laughing because I felt like I had gender dysphoria back in 2023. It was not diagnosed by a doctor. That's how I felt. But I'm gonna still say that I don't think femboys are harmful in how they present themselves. I feel like, I'm gonna just say this for any community, I don't think any community is harmful unless they have intent. Like if it's an actual like hateful community or racist community, they're harmful and they don't have to actually harm anyone. Their intention is to be harmful just based on their appearance. But
so
I feel like
femboys
are not.
Sorry, would you answer differently if like the prompt was like femboys in VR chat have the potential to be harmful?
I still would say no. I wouldn't answer differently because I feel like the individual, because I feel like the individual person could be harmful. Like me being I'm too tall. Me being a femboy isn't harming anyone.
Yeah, I agree.
But if I walk up to someone and if I walk up to someone and try to make someone a femboy or try to persuade them to be a femboy and they really don't want to, that is the part that's harmful. So that's why I say femboys are not harmful, but it is the individual that is.
Yeah, let me be
I do
clear.
have an example to prove it, though.
Yeah, let me be clear. I'm not saying like the presentation is bad. When I say like it is harmful, what I'm trying to like express is this like idea that like people who are femboys have the propensity, like have the chance to be harmed by merely like inhabiting that idea.
What?
So, like, what I'm saying is, like, femboys, like, inhabiting the idea of femboy and radically embracing it has the potential to cause harm in the one person that is inhabiting that idea of a femboy. So I'm not saying it's causing harm to others. I'm saying it's causing harm to the person inhabiting that, like, that idea.
Femboys can cause harm to the person who has the idea of femboys.
Yeah,
which would
when
be
I say
its normal
idea,
person?
when I'm saying idea, I mean like you're like expressing of an idea of yourself right now. This like model is like the idea of a. I don't know what I'm looking at, to be honest with you, but like you get the idea. It's not the actual presentation. You feel like you're presenting that way, but you're just like inhabiting an idea. If that makes sense. It's a bit like esoteric
I still
language,
don't
but
see how that's harmful.
yeah, the reason why is what's your understanding of gender?
I feel like gender is no, it's not what I feel. Gender is based off sex, so we are all male and female. Gender would be man and woman because we have society. We don't call like a lion. We don't call a male lion a man lion or a lioness a woman lion. They're just male lion or female lion or
Wait,
lioness.
are you saying that gender and sex are one and the same, or like, I'm confused?
Gender, based on my understanding of gender, I really wasn't taught this in school. I feel like gender is based off sex. It kind of goes hand in hand, but it's different because we have society. Sex, it basically has nature roles. The male does things that is natural to him, and the female does things that's natural to her. But when you have a man and woman, we basically add on to that of society. Like, think of old school, like what should a woman do in the 1950s? Basically stay in the house and cook and clean all day, and the man should go out and work.
I understand. So the way like tell me if you disagree at any point or want to like reframe it in a different way. That's fine. My understanding of like gender is basically there is a internal reality of how somebody perceives themselves, like and most of the time that is associated with sex, what you're born with. But there's this third value that is called like gender expression. And it's basically what you look like, right? And this is completely unrelated to sex. But your sex, like in biological reality, will push you to a certain like gender expression. So when like I'll use trans people as an example. So like trans people, when they're born, they have a different gender identity, the internal idea of self, than what they were born as, right? So for the bringing it back to the femboy, right? The point I'm making in like more like theoretical terms, right, is that the femboy, right, the person inhabiting it has the potential to be somebody who is only slightly leaning feminine, right? But what the expression is full all the way like hyper feminine. and that causes a discrepancy between the internal and the external like expression, causing dysphoria.
I see what you mean, but I still don't see it as. I still don't see it as harmful, though.
Can you explain?
I feel like that someone, because VR chat specifically has pretty much avatars for literally anything at this point. You could even be a blade of grass. I feel like if someone wants to just be a little bit feminine, they could get an avatar that is like that, and then you have something like this where it's like it's a man, but it's so feminine it could pass off as a woman. But if someone doesn't look like this in real life, some people could see it as like, hey, this is what I want to look like. This is my goal. In real life, I don't look like this now, but I want to look like my goal to people on the internet. A lot of trans people do that as well.
Yeah, like this avatar
But I
I'm
can
wearing
still
right now
see
is
your
1,000,000%.
I can still see your argument.
Yeah, okay. So your argument is because of the amount of avatars on VR chat that it's unlikely for somebody to fall into that trap of like not expressing as something they're not.
I feel like my argument is more like I lost it.
Yeah. But you said there's like
I
a lot of
100%
avatars
lost it.
you can like present in that slightly femme way. So like, I'm sort of like drawing conclusions off of that statement, right? Since there is so many avatars and you can present slightly feminine, and you said that you disagree with this statement that it's harmful, do you then believe that it would be like less likely for that person to fall into that trap, or is what is that what leads you to that like statement of like disagree, right?
I feel like it is less likely. I can only go based off myself and some people I know, because I never really looked this deeply into anything like that. I can only go into myself. I feel like that with me, because I'm skinny, I have to look at a whole bunch of male avatars, and there's rarely any avatar that looks like me. So I feel like I can't really be an e-boy because I don't have big muscles. But then again, I don't want to look like somebody from a Playboy magazine anyway. So that's why I won't wear those unless I'm using it as a joke. And so that's why I kind of feel like that's why I kind of feel like that, yes, it is kind of unlikely that someone will go through it, but I'm not ruling out that possibility because I've definitely felt like that. But it wasn't with femboys, it was with the e-boy avatars, the normal men avatars.
Yeah.
I guess because, again, I'm just skinny and I'm not really trying to look like them. So I'm just kind of like, I'll just go for something different. Plus, I've gotten so used to these anyway.
So, actually, yeah, we can play with that a little bit. Like, so you said you felt like that similar like experience with like the e-boy avatars, right? Yes, and you said you wouldn't discount the possibility that it's possible for somebody to express like more extremely than they might want to. Is that what? Okay. So, if that is the case, what do you say about like the social dynamics at play, right? Because like a part of my argument is like the reason why they are harmful is because like there's like a standard set for people to say, okay, I want to be feminine, but I don't want to be like a trans woman or whatever. Or, like I don't want to be a woman, right? So the answer is femboy, right? I would say it's almost to the point of like diagnosis, right? And that I feel like that's a pretty major part of my like argument.
So it's starting to sound like it's starting to sound like social media. How people look at celebrities and then they look at themselves. Oh God, I got gas. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm more like referring
Like the appearance.
Yeah, yes and no. So like refer back to our like conversation about like environmental influences, right? So I would make the claim that almost everybody in VR chat, I would be almost willing to bet like over 80% of the game, if like faced with somebody that's saying, hey, I want to be like slightly more feminine, they'd be basically pushed into like the idea of being a femboy.
They're talking about Maverick.
I could see that happening because I could see that happening. I'm gonna show you this. I can see that 100% happening. There is not too many avatars that is like just right. It's always an avatar that's one way or another way to the extreme. It could be something like, I'm way too tall. It could be something like this. Let me get shorter. This is, I guess, would be a normal dude, but because I'm able to change my face shape and hair, my face shape and hair texture, yes, I can look as whatever I want, and I could even do that. Now I'm a masculine woman.
Fuck yeah, dog. Yeah,
or I'm
so
just a masculine dude.
I sort of use like
But
like
very
femboys as an
rarely-
example because that's the one I can argue the best for because I don't have like personal experience with like e-boys or whatever like that. But like what you're saying is true of other avatar types. I'm not saying it's unique to femboys.
Right. It's just that it's very rarely that you'll get avatars that are like this, where it can straight up have so much freedom and you can be just a dude that looks feminine because of the feminine hair and even the face.
Yeah.
Let me take off my glasses.
Yeah, I'm lucky that I found this avatar. This shit is
And
so
even like
heat,
the
I'm gonna be
face.
honest with you. Anyway.
But yeah, you can see it. I could be like just masculine. You could argue femininity with like how my hair tips are and earrings are.
Yeah, you're
Then I could
really
be
giving
straight up
off a
feminine.
slay queen vibe. I'm gonna be honest. Okay.
Then
So
I could be
you're-
a masculine woman.
Is there
Then I
any
could be
like
a
final
mixture
questions
if
for
I
me
wanted.
or any final statements or anything like that?
I'm just waiting for somebody to behind me against a disgusting.
I guess the final statement would be like, I actually enjoyed having this conversation. I was pretty bored in general, so I enjoyed your company.
Fuck yeah.
That's a
let's go.
statement.
Let's go. Sorry. Yeah. Have a lovely night. I hope you think about this a little bit more because I think this stuff is really important. Important to talk about. We should be talking about a lot of this stuff more openly. So, yeah. Have a good night.
Awesome. You too.
Fuck yeah, dog. Bonjour, bonjour. I was just reading your bio. I was saying hello in French. Yeah. It's wild. What do you think I said? Like bitch or something? Oh, my bad, my bad. Mic issue, I guess. Yeah, I heard you chat about the conversation I was having over there. Do you want to engage with that, or like what's the name? So it's basically it was started off with a pretty basic like question, and I went into okay, so how do you feel about this statement from strongly disagree to strongly agree? Like femboys in VR chat are harmful, and that's where that conversation was sort of like going back and forth. I'm just here to provide counter arguments to people, basically. Okay, you're not here for any deep discussions. I respect it. I respect it. Oh fuck. I just yeeted that shit. Okay. Have a good night. All right. Honestly, I'm feeling pretty content with the state of the conversation. I'm feeling pretty comfortable ending stream. I feel like if I get anything else, we're going to be going into like 2 in the morning. So, yeah, I think I'm going to read out. And then we get into like the classic dilemma of like what VR chat player isn't cringe in the directory. We're playing this game again. Let's see. Struggles. All right. Reactions plus gaming. Oh boy. With a face cam. Oh my god. I have to find him again. Shit. Alright, yeah, let's raid after this guy. Maybe it isn't absolutely obnoxious. It looks like he's playing Roblox, though. Wrong directory, but, you know what? I don't really care. I'm better than most of what I find on VR chat directory. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Yeah, everybody, I hope you have a lovely night, a lovely day. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun with these conversations. I want to continue doing them and maybe continue like doing them more frequently. Really depends, right? I'm always open to feedback and criticism on how I'm engaging. I want criticism. Criticize me, please. I'm begging. Okay. Yeah. Have a great night.